Welcome, Bruce Elliot, to the Anime Dad podcast. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Reilly, our anime dad, or anime Reilly.
Anime Riley's good as well. And we've got, maybe you can introduce yourself. Patrion?
Hi, everyone. My name is Biorvio, and I am a TikTok content creator and also aspiring voice actor, co-host of the Anime Dudes podcast, and a really good friend to Anime Dad. I don't know whether he agrees, but I at least like to say it.
Of course. Cool. Of course I agree. No, but Bruce, it is really good having you on, and I thank Stephanie Nadolny for arranging it, because I messaged her and she was like, okay, yep, I'll flick my message. So it's fantastic. She is so lovely. How long have you known her for?
Oh, Stephanie. Well, I'm sure we must have met years ago, but we really have just gotten to know each other a little bit in the last several months, because we've done some conventions together and gone out as a group afterwards, and got to know each other, really. So probably just, since the first of the year.
Perfect. Yeah, no,
Wow.
she's such a lovely person.
She's a doll. She's great. Yeah.
And so energetic. Like, she's got so much energy. You can
Makes
feel
me
it.
crazy. Yeah.
It does. So obviously we're both really big fans, but for the people who might not know you, Bruce, do you mind introducing yourself quickly and maybe some of the characters you play?
Okay, sure. Well, I am Bruce Elliot, and professionally I'm known as our Bruce Elliot. And I've been an actor all my life, basically. Well, I mean, I had my first role in the third grade. And serious about it, got serious about it in college, and did an awful lot of theater. I really thought of myself as a stage actor for most of my life. And 20 years ago this year, my agent in Dallas sent me on an audition at this place called Funimation, which I had heard of, but I knew they did this thing called Dragon Ball Z. That's about all I knew about them. And I got cast in my very first show, which was called Case Closed. I played a bumbling idiot detective named Richard Moore. And that was a very cool show. And one thing led to another. And coming up this December, it will be 20 years since that first audition and that first show that I did. So some of the things I probably am best known for would be Captain Ginyu in Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z Kai and Super is actually when I started working on Dragon Ball Z. And then I have been Captain Ginyu in all of the video games. I am the voice of Whitebeard in One Piece, as well as a number of other minor characters in One Piece. He is the principal role that I played in One Piece. I am Master Makarov, the guild master of the Fairy Tail Guild in Fairy Tail. I am Dot Pixis in Attack on Titan. What else? I'm Tanaka in Black Butler. Boss Gran in Full Metal Alchemist. That's going back almost 20 years. And a couple hundred more in the middle there. Most of which were just probably one-line, two-line parts. Things like that, but those are some of the ones that I'm better known for, I guess.
That's incredible. That's awesome. I personally know you the best as Whitebeard, which is one of my favorite, probably my favorite character in all of One Piece, and Biorvio knows you in
Full Metal Alchemist is my favorite anime of all time. So, I super familiar with your role in that, and absolutely incredible job. Thank you so much for doing that role.
Oh gosh. Oh, thank you. Well, I love playing it. I'm just sorry he got killed off so quickly in the series.
and
Ron, he's only like, I thought, great, I got cast in another show. I mean, this was like maybe the second or third show I got cast in at Funimation. It was like great, and I knew everybody was very excited about Funimation getting the rights to do this show. So fantastic! Oh, I got cast in it. Great. And I do an episode, and I do another episode, and I do another episode, and then I get killed. Like, oh. And that was my introduction to the anime, that part of the anime world. I probably have died in more than half of my roles. I wouldn't be surprised anyway. In some cases, more than once. Master Makarov gets himself knocked off about 2 or 3 times in the course of the fairy tale series, but manages to come back. Thank you, the magic of anime. But yeah.
That's fantastic. And Bruce, now you obviously love them all in different ways. What would you say you had the most fun in? Like, what was a role that you really had a lot of fun voicing the character?
Well, I try to have fun every time I go in the booth. I've always said that this is not work for me. This is play. That's how I've always thought of acting, is that it's play for me. And once it's not play anymore, I probably wouldn't want to do it. But it's, I'm a pretty old guy now, and it's still play for me. Well, I will tell the show, the role I usually tell people I had the most fun doing, where we laughed the most while we were recording it, was a show called Sergeant Frog. I was the narrator on this very, very funny, silly show called Sergeant Frog. It's about, if you've never seen it, it's worth seeing. It's very funny. It's a bunch of alien space frogs that come down to Earth with plans to take over the world. They're gonna take over Earth. They find themselves in the home of the Hinatas, the Hinata family, I guess, in Tokyo or wherever it is, and they hatch their plots to take over the world from there, and none of them have any hope of success whatsoever. They're all utter idiots, but they're very funny and in their own way kind of charming idiots. And it's very, very well written. And the narrator in that show in particular was almost a character. He really was a character, as a matter of fact. In that show, and I've done narration in a number of shows, but in that show in particular, the narrator had some attitude. And he had some personal problems, and he would bring these up every once in a while into the narration. He was having trouble with his wife, and at one point in the series, he gets so angry at something or other that's happened, and he says, "The hell with this! I'm out of here." And I actually left the booth and slammed the door behind me, and you can hear it on the episode. I don't know which episode it is anymore. And they actually had someone else come in and do the narrator for several more episodes. I'm not quite sure how long, but ultimately they brought the original narrator back in for the show. And it was a crazy, crazy show. And of course, when you're recording, it's just you in the booth, and on the other side of the glass, it's the director and an engineer. So there's just 3 of us in the room. And we just laughed our butts off on that show. We just laughed and laughed and laughed because it was so well written and so funny and so just off the wall crazy, and it made us laugh. So that was the long answer to your brief question. Sergeant Frog, if you haven't seen,
I have
Sergeant
added that
Frog,
to my list of things to watch.
Yeah, me too.
It's got to be well over 10 years old now, I think. Yeah.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it.
We're gonna watch it together. I promise you this.
Yeah.
Yes. Good.
All the best shows are over 10 years old anyway. So that's perfect. I'm looking forward to the scene. I'm looking forward to the
One Piece is still going on,
True.
One Piece is still going on.
Valid
and
point.
I'm back in it. Whitebeard's back in it in flashbacks. I've actually been recording some Whitebeard, recently. But much to my pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
I had not recorded on that show in quite a few years.
Anyway, I saw a post saying that they should do a spin-off from One Piece that has the older the older pirate crews around, and how Whitebeard came up and about. So you never know, that might be the spin-off that goes another 20, 30 years in the future, Bruce.
Sounds good to me. I don't know if I'll make it 30 years. I might make it 20. I'm kind of an old guy these days. I always say I'm one of the older boys and girls in this business.
Right.
But I'm going to do it as long as I can. I say I will keep recording until they pry the microphone from my cold, dead hand.
I love it. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you, Bruce?
Oh,
24.
exactly. 24.
Perfect.
My answer to that is it's not a big secret. I don't generally announce it. You can look it up and let's just leave it at that. Okay. I am ageless.
Yeah, eternal.
My voice is age. I may have gray hair, but I am ageless. My voice is ageless. I do seem to be playing an awful lot of grandpas these days, but I have a voice that's usable for middle-aged men.
Yeah.
And I can even do kids, but nobody ever lets me audition for kids because I think I would be good at that, but nobody will let me do it. So I don't know.
I think kids would work. I'd see a kid go. That's great.
I think that was great.
Yeah. While you're doing your voices, Bruce, could you potentially say, "Hi, I'm Bruce Elliot, and welcome to the Anime Dad podcast," and then maybe you can say it in Whitebeard and Captain Ginyu's voice for me.
You want it in 3 different voices?
Yes,
My voice,
please.
their voice?
Yes, please.
Okay. So say again what you wanted me to say.
So, hi, I'm Bruce, and welcome to the Anime Dad podcast.
I can do that. Hi, I am R. Bruce Elliot. You may call me Bruce, and welcome to the Anime Dad podcast. As Whitebeard, I have to hydrate first for Whitebeard.
Understandable. Completely.
I'm R. Bruce Elliot, the voice of Whitebeard from One Piece, and I'm welcoming you all to the Anime Dad podcast. R. Actually, the R. They don't like the R. R. They never wanted R.
They never did.
In One Piece, you know. But I'd like to throw that in every once in a while. And Ginyu, you may want to turn the gain down. Hi, I'm R. Bruce Elliot, the voice of Captain Ginyu in Dragon Ball Z. Welcome to the Anime Dad podcast. Yes, Lord Friesen.
That's fantastic. Oh, I love that. I love that. Thank you very much for doing that, Bruce. You're so good. You're so talented. And me and Biorvio were talking about it before you came on. We were saying you've interviewed quite a few people, but I haven't been. I'm quite nervous because you are, our idols. You're great and you're so talented. So, yeah, you might sense a bit of nervousness in our voices, but it's just because we're in the presence of a very talented person.
No,
For sure.
Stop. I'm just a regular guy, really, honest. I'm from, this guy from Brooklyn, and I've had a nice career. I've been very, very lucky.
Yeah,
I'm not from Brooklyn
lucky,
at
but
all. I'm from Texas.
oh, are you?
But
Are you from Texas?
I love to do New York accents.
Yeah.
I love to do accents. Don't get to do that many accents actually in anime. So
It'd be good.
I
that's a good
wasn't
point.
born here, but I've lived in Texas most of my life.
Awesome.
Dallas.
It'd be good to hear Whitebeard with a Texas accent at some point. So Bruce, what would you say? I mean, you seem like a very funny man. You said you weren't a dad, which is completely fine, but do you have any jokes in your pocket that you could tell us? Any jokes?
What do you call a priest who takes the bar exam?
What?
Father-in-law.
Oh, that's perfect. That's a perfect dad joke.
I've never heard that.
No, I like that.
Off the top of my, actually, one of my anime fan friends sent me that joke a couple of days ago. It's been, and he sent me the question first, and I didn't get the answer for 2 days, and I couldn't think of it. I couldn't come up with that myself, and it seems obvious now, of course, doesn't it?
But I wasn't expecting that at all.
No.
I wasn't either.
So you said you were in your first role when you were in school. What was that for, Bruce?
Oh, in the 3rd grade, well, in elementary school, I had the prettiest soprano little boy's voice of anybody in the class. Ask my music teacher, actually, who is long gone now. I was their favorite, and I was homesick from school one day and got back the next day, and the guys are going, "Hey, Elliot, you got cast in this musical thing we're going to do." And the teacher had cast me, even though I was homesick, as the title role in the Pied Piper of Hamelin. It's a little operetta, and I'm sure we must have done a shortened version of it. I don't really remember all that well, but it's the story of the Pied Piper, the town of Hamelin that's being besieged by rats, and they don't know what to do to get rid of the rats. And so the piper comes along and says he can pipe the. Do you know this story? You know the story of the Pied Piper?
Yeah, I tell it to my daughter. Do you know? Yeah.
Yeah. They hire him to pipe away. He has a magical flute that he plays, and he will pipe away the rats. And he does that, and they're very, very happy. But then they decide, well, the rats are gone. We really don't have to pay you what we said we were going to pay you. So go away, go away, go away. And he plays a different tune on the flute and lures away all of the children of the town. And and takes them off to I forget how that happens. Takes them off to a mountain where they are all enclosed where the children will be children for the rest of their lives and play happily. But the townspeople are bereft of their children because they weren't honest. They did not live up to their bargain, and they paid the price. Anyway, it's kind of grim sounding at the end there, but it was an awful lot of fun in third grade.
Yeah, it is grim, but all those stories, but it's a good lesson. Always do what you say you're going to do. Otherwise, your child will be taken away and taken to the
That's
forest.
right. That's right. That's right.
Oh, that's great. No, thank you.
And then I didn't do any more theater for years after that.
Right.
That was my introduction to it. But I started taking classes at the Dallas Theater Center when I was in I guess about 9th grade here in Dallas. And then in high school, I got really interested in it, and I auditioned for plays in high school. I got cast as the lead in the senior play. I was the father of the bride in Father of the Bride. And then college, I was really serious about it. Graduated with what basically amounted to a theater degree. And once I got out of college, I started doing community theater here in town in Dallas. And within a few years, I had joined Actors Equity, and I was starting to get paid to be on stage, and continue that. And I'm still a member of Actors Equity. So I've been a member for decades now. So stage was always my first love. I did a little bit of TV, a little bit of movie stuff, mostly in the 90s. I'm JFK, which of course shot here in Dallas. Walker, Texas Ranger, a lot of that was shot here in Dallas. I did a couple of Walker, Texas Rangers. Actually 3, got killed in 2 of them, once on screen, once off screen. Did a couple of Barney the dinosaur. I was Mr. Tennigan on an episode of Barney and Friends way back in the 90s.
Was that with Josh Martin?
At
the time,
he would have playing.
He was in the
voice of Barney.
He was in the Barney suit, I think.
No, David. I believe David Joyner was the name of the fellow in the suit, and Bob West was the voice of Barney in those days.
That's my childhood right there.
My friend Julie Johnson was Baby Bop, and the Mr. Tennigan episode was Baby Bop's birthday, and Mr. Tennigan shows up to bring her presents, and there were all 10 presents in one form or another. So, yeah. So I've done a few other things.
That's fantastic.
But this came along, and it's just been amazing.
And what you've said, you love it, and that you have fun, and that's the difference. If you have fun, you never work a day in your life, is what my mother always said. And
exactly, yeah.
That's why we do what we do, I suppose, and that's why you do what you do, and you're so good at it, is because you have fun. Now, Biorvio, Bruce, how are you with improv? Are you okay?
Well, I'm a little out of practice, but I was a member of a comedy improv group back in the 90s for a few years, a group called 4 out of 5 Doctors here in Dallas. So I've done some over the years. So I don't know. Try me out.
Perfect. Well, Biorvio has a couple of scenes, so maybe you can explain that, Biorvio.
So what I'm kind of thinking is, if you don't mind doing your Captain Ginyu voice, I want to set the stage. I'll be Shenron, the Eternal Dragon, and I want to know what kind of wish or wishes the good captain would make on the Eternal Dragon.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Well, that's it. I would say that's kind of a tough one, because I always think of Ginyu as not having much, many desires of his own. His desire is to serve Lord Frieza.
Right, and so I
and
wonder
what would he be
wish
without
for
Lord Frieza? Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, say again. Say again.
I'm curious what I think he would spend a lot of his wishes on, like Lord Frieza. I just don't know what exactly he would be.
Well, let's give it a go. All right. You start with the Shenron, Biorvio,
Okay.
and if Bruce is ready with his Captain Ginyu, sounds hard on the voice, but ready and scene.
You who have summoned the Eternal Dragon, I shall grant you any 3 wishes your heart desires. Speak them now.
Oh, Lord Shenron, I am speechless. And scene. Okay. No. Lord Shenron. Oh, thank you. I am so honored. I hardly know what to say. First of all, I want you to give all but maybe one of my wishes to my Lord Frieza. That would put me in very good stead with him, and that would be a good thing. For myself, maybe a nice Caribbean vacation for me and the Ginyu Force. That would be very nice. Chairs on the beach, somebody bring us frozen margaritas, a couple of girls going by. How about that? Yeah, that would be great.
This wish is within my power. I shall grant it.
That's perfect.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, Lord Shenron.
That's perfect.
Enjoy your vacation, Captain.
Well done. That is great.
Thank you.
Bruce, that's amazing. I love Captain Ginyu. I love his loyalty and the fact that he's always got Frieza's back, no matter what. Even when Frieza treats him horribly and he turns into a frog. I'm starting at Dragon Ball right now and going through. I'm going to get to Dragon Ball Z with my daughter once again because I liked seeing her reaction to it, and I know she's going to love the Ginyu Force and Captain Ginyu with their dance moves. And do you have a specific dance move that you do on the dance floor, Bruce? That stands out there.
I don't get it. Oh boy, you asked the questions. I don't get out on the dance floor these days as much as I used to. I practiced a Ginyu pose. So a couple of weeks ago now, just about 10 days ago, was Kamehacon here in Texas, just north of Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that, of course, is the big Dragon Ball Z convention. And people come from all over the country, and a few internationals at least come to this Dragon Ball Z con. So I worked on a pose, which I can't really do in the situation I am in here with the camera and where I'm seated and all of that. I'm kind of I boxed myself in here a little bit. But what I did was work on the, so when they called us out on the opening day for the opening ceremonies, and that all of the guests and voice actors and what have you come out on stage and say a few words, I had worked on this on a Ginyu pose, and I can describe it. I can show the first part of it is his arms out like this, and he's kind of crouched down a little bit, and his knees are splayed out. So, and he just goes like,
yeah.
You get a charge out of that.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
perfect.
I love
That is
this.
great. I'm gonna look for those photos on
But
social media. You
the
need to
dance
post a couple of.
poses, the rest of the Ginyu poses, I fall down. He does a lot of stuff like on one leg. Nah, not me. No, I fall down.
I'm gonna, if I have a party, Bruce, in New Zealand, and you ever here, I'm gonna invite you to it, and I can just imagine you going on the dance floor and doing that Ginyu pose to start things off. That'll be the starting dance move, and then everyone will just join around you and dance. I think that'll be
Well,
perfect.
I'd love to come to a party in New Zealand, so feel free to invite me.
All
I
right,
haven't
Bill.
been to many parties in New Zealand. In fact, let's see. I haven't been to any party. I've never been to New Zealand. Let's face it.
Okay. Well, it's a great
I
place
have
to.
been to Australia, so I was kind of in your neighborhood, but that's
Yeah.
the closest I've ever come.
Well, it's a great place to hide out. I've got a couple of underground bunkers if you want one, and
Okay.
you can join us. And I'm in the bush actually where I am, so I am quite hidden away. But a lot of people from America have actually come, especially when COVID hit. They did come to New Zealand for their bunkers,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there are a lot of bunkers around here because it is a good place to hide out and far away from any nuclear blasts. So you're welcome, Bruce, anytime.
I'll keep it in mind. I'd love to come to New Zealand. I've heard how beautiful it is, and I'd love to see it for myself.
It is absolutely.
Oh yeah, the pictures
gorgeous.
that Anime Dad has sent me they just don't do it justice, I'm sure. And I mean they're like the background of your Windows 11 computer worthy. Like they're just stunning.
It is amazing. All right, Biorvio, I know you have another improv scene to pitch to Bruce, so pitch it.
All right. So for this one, I was kind of thinking I was curious, I always personally love the interaction between Vegeta and Captain Ginyu. I feel like they didn't have enough real interactions together other than them just kind of fighting back when when Ginyu had control of Goku's body.
Goku's body, yeah.
I would kind of like to explore what would happen if Vegeta if Ginyu had landed just a little bit later to where Vegeta thinks, oh, I already have unlocked the Super Saiyan form, and just see how that conversation would go. Even though he hadn't already unlocked it, he thought he did.
Okay, and so what's I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm not following what the idea is here entirely.
Just a conversation between Vegeta and Ginyu, basically.
Okay, while they're fighting?
Yes.
They're fighting, you think? Okay. And so Vegeta, so what's different about this, you say, is that Vegeta has gotten there.
So Vegeta thinks in the final fight with Frieza, Vegeta swears that he's already unlocked the Super Saiyan power. So instead, this time I'm going to be playing Vegeta thinking he's already unlocked Super Saiyan, which he did, and just trying to brag to Captain Ginyu about it.
Okay, and I'm going to buy that or not, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
We'll see how it goes.
Up
Either
to
way.
Me.
All right, ready and see.
Okay.
Well, as you can see now, Captain, you're not dealing with the average Saiyan warrior anymore. I have achieved the power that your master, Lord Frieza, fears so much. The legend that you fear. I, Prince Vegeta, have become a Super Saiyan!
Yeah, I hear it all the time, Veggie. Give me your best shot, kid. I think you don't have a prayer. You're hanging out over the edge. You don't know what you're talking about. I got you, kid. Come on, I'll sock you right in the jaw. Ha!
You think that will work? You're going to need more than just socking me in the face in order to do anything. Not so when you see the true power of a Saiyan elite, you'll go begging back to your master's boots, just begging to lick them.
You're making me laugh, kid. What are you talking about? Hey, Ginyu Force, you guys, take a break. I'm handling this moron on my own. Okay, let's see what you got.
Scene. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well done. My goodness, you guys are so. Bruce, you're amazing at improv, and your Ginyu voice is incredible.
Oh, absolutely incredible.
I need one more improv for you, Bruce. Could you say for me?
Oh, good. Okay.
Could you say for me, the anime dad is real in Whitebeard's voice?
The anime dad is real.
Woo! I love it. I love it. I'm gonna make that my ringtone on my phone, and
Well, I'll require a royalty on that.
of course you will. Of course you will. After
As
this,
one should.
yeah,
$1,000 a day. I
Yep.
take Venmo or Zelle.
I think $1,000 a call. $1,000 a call would be,
Oh, even better.
more
Even better.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
After this, I'll just jump in my bunker and you won't be able to reach me. No,
I'll
Bruce.
send the Ginyu Force after you.
Oh, you better run. You better run to that bunker quick.
Raccoon, I think that's his name. Raccoon's always been scariest to me, even though he's not the strongest. He's just such a giant of a man. That's great. I mean, a couple more questions before we finish up here. I know as a voice actor, you're in an isolated studio, and you might not have a tremendous relationship with many people you work with. But have you ever? Do you have a special relationship with any other voice actors out there?
Oh, yeah. Well, in 20 years, I've made a lot of good friends. But in the first few years, it was just sort of in passing. You know, I go into the studio and somebody would be coming out and the director would say, "Oh, Bruce, this is so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so." And we would kind of meet in passing that way. What was really wonderful was I started to do some directing a few years into my career as a voice actor. Chris Bevins was kind of the driving force behind that. He was the executive producer, line producer on a show called Romeo and Juliet. It's spelled Romeo X Juliet. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. It was sort of an anime retelling of the Romeo and Juliet story, with sci-fi elements and a lot of fantasy elements. A lot longer than the original play. It's like 24 episodes. It's Neo Verona and not Verona. And Neo Verona is on a floating island up in the sky. So it had that kind of stuff. But Michael Tatum, J. Michael Tatum and I, we had gotten to be friends already. And he and I co-directed that show. And so we got to work with lots of actors, which was really wonderful. And besides having lots of people, we had about a week of auditions for that show. And I'm sure we must have seen, 60 to 100 people at least in that week before we did the casting. And I loved that because I was there every day working on the show. And well, he and I alternated. I think he did 2 or 3 episodes and then I did 2 or 3 episodes and we went back and forth like that. But I got to work with some really wonderful people and got to know them at some length. So like I got to know Mike McFarlane. I got to know Jamie Markey. I got to know Monica Reeeeaaaal, and some of those folks, Eric Vale. And some of them I had worked with already a little bit. Some of them had directed me in some things. But that was really great. So, and a lot of those folks are still very good friends of mine, and I'm always glad to see them. I'm going to, all of a sudden, as of this morning, I'm going to a convention in Philadelphia this coming weekend. I just came back from Los Angeles, a weekend in Los Angeles, doing store signings, and was expecting to have a few days off. And my agent calls this morning and says, Eric Vale has not been able to do this convention coming up this weekend, and they've asked for you. Would you like to go? So I'm like, okay, so I guess I'm going to Philadelphia this weekend, and I will see some of my friends. Oh, Brina Palencia, the wonderful, wonderful Brina Palencia. I'm so looking forward to seeing. She was our Juliet. And she also has directed me in things, and she's wonderful. I'm really looking forward to seeing her. She's a dear friend. Who else is going to be there? Yeah, some cool people. Anyway, yeah. So I enjoy my actor friends. I've always thought that actors were the best people that I knew my whole life. Actors tend to be actors tend to be good people and accepting and loving and open, you know, gay, straight. We don't care what gender you are. We don't care what color you are. If you can act, you're in the club.
True.
So it's those kind of people that I love. So yeah. So I do get to see them. But you know, going into the studio to record, it's like, will I see somebody I know today? Maybe I will, maybe I won't. And when I do, it's always a nice surprise. So you just never know.
That's awesome. That's really cool. No, it's good that there's a community, and I've noticed that as well. Talking to a few voice actors, they only have good things to say about each other. So that's really special. Before we finish up, Biorvio, do you have any other questions for Bruce?
Honestly, no, I'm just still in awe of even being here, and so
you're basking in my reflected glory. Yes,
exactly. And I just wanted to say thank you for all that you've done for, you know, the anime community and just for production as a whole. You know, we really appreciate it. You know, a lot of us, like myself, I grew up on anime, and it was one of those, like, you know, it was kind of my safe place. I grew up watching a lot of different animes, and then as an adult, you know, getting back into it, it's really, really cool. And, you know, I just wanted to say thank you for all that you've done and contributed.
Well, thank you. That I mean, I'm always touched when I hear people say things like that, you know, how important anime is to them. And I've had people tell me that this show that you were in saved my life. You know, or this show was so important to me at a time when things were really, really hard for me. But but Fairy Tale got me through, or Black Butler got me through, or, you know, it's just, and that's just amazing. That's just incredible to me. So I'm delighted to be a part of that world, and I love hearing that. So thank you very much. Thank you.
That's perfect. Bruce, could you take us out? I know Whitebeard is one of the greatest anime dads out there. He truly is, I believe. Because he
got a lot of sons.
Yeah, and his crew is his family. Could you could you potentially give us, to finish off, we'll give you one more improv, Whitebeard saying he's proud of his sons, maybe like a little dad speech from Whitebeard.
All right. Gather around, boys. I want you to know that no matter what happens in this incredible battle we're about to embark upon, that I love each and every one of you. You are my sons. You are my boys, and you will always be my sons.